Joe, the biggest battle in the Big Ten this season. Indiana versus UCLA this upcoming weekend. The revivant UCLA Bruins taking on an undefeated Indiana team. Listen, Indiana people, I know that you're mad at me, but you got to acknowledge that this UCLA run over the last couple of weeks has been very fun. I do think it ends here, but Joe, as we break this game down and this preview down, what says you about it?
Indiana's favored minus 25.5 on FanDuel, which is
too big.
Yeah, I got to be honest, that's shockingly big, but
that's what she said.
When we look deeper at this Indiana team, I can't believe you just said that. I was trying to move past it. I'm like, this Indiana team, when we look at it deeper, is not getting, I think, enough credit for how dominant it's been.
Yeah.
There are so many areas that they're excelling. 226 rush yards per game, 5.5 yards per carry, only allowing 85 rush yards per game. Defensively, they're just insane. They're 54% on third down, which is really impressive. They're not committing very many penalties, only 28 per game. They have 26 team sacks on the year. And then when we just look at all the simple metrics that I love to bring up for EPA, they are at the tops for most of those metrics. They generate a ton of disruptive plays on defense. They force turnovers. And then you've got an awesome receiver duo with Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, not to mention the fact that Fernando Mendoza has been money in games like this. He had the pick against Oregon, but this is not an Oregon defense that he is facing. Blake, as fun as it's been to watch UCLA be the plucky, unexpected team that's showing a lot of fight, and I think that they can continue to show fight, and maybe they surprise somebody down the line. This isn't the game, and the biggest reason why. They don't have a pass rush. They literally don't. This isn't like one of those previews where we talk about, well, their pass rush isn't great and it could contribute to X, Y, and Z. They have 6 sacks on the season. They statistically have one of the worst pass rushes in all of college football. You're going up against a team with a fantastic offensive line, with 2 really good receivers, and a top 3 quarterback in the sport. What is going to happen to you? Plain and simple.
What's going to happen to you if you don't contain what might not be an unhealthy Nico Iamaleava? You've gone up against teams this year where you've been able to get after the quarterback. And what I would say is what we've seen from Jerry Neuheisel, what we've seen from Tim Skipper is a lot more loose play calling, a lot more innovation, but the book is out. Here's the thing that I think is the biggest lie in college football. Actually, one of the biggest lies, not the biggest lie. It doesn't take coaches more than one game to find out what you do. The book is out on what they do. I think that Jerry Neuheisel, Tim Skipper, they have been a breath of fresh air for that program. And quite honestly, college football, everyone likes an underdog story. I love watching them because they are the happiest team I've ever seen in my life, I feel like sometimes. They are so happy to be playing football. But being happy and playing doesn't mean anything. I do think that they've revived things, and it's gone a little bit more, and they have some momentum. But here's the problem. Joe, it's not the pass game and the wide receivers that I worry about. It's not the pass rush that I worry about. Dude, this run defense for UCLA, even with the change with Tim Skipper, is god-awful. They're 115th in the country in run defense. They're 133rd out of 134 teams on third down defensively. By the way, I went and looked this up even more on the 133rd on third down. Joe, guess how many times they stopped teams on third down from running from a first down? It ain't much. Twice. And it's not that Tim Skipper and teams have figured it out and been able to figure it out defensively. I know that they were able to make some big plays versus UCLA and Michigan State, whatever. This is just a different beast. I do think that this game is going to be early a little bit more competitive than maybe people would thought. And Indiana's a really good team. They're a physical team. Really and truthfully, can you contain Nico Iamaleava? Their run game has gotten a lot better over the last couple of weeks. They've been running downhill. They've been scheming guys open. They've been better offensively. But, Joe, this defense, with all due respect to Tim Skipper, with all due respect to UCLA, I think is going to get run through like a hot knife through butter. I just don't. I mean, look, I've watched me and you. People don't know this because we obviously don't tell them on social media or anything. I text you all the time about UCLA because it's just it's amazing to me what they're doing.
They're fun, man. They're fun that they've had
so
this
fun.
energy.
But there's not an area in this game where Indiana's not better. And I even go from a coaching staff perspective, maybe some areas. I still think athletically Nico's better. But other than that, I think that they can dominate in every single facet and every single level.
Well, so I just want to reframe something you just said, that there's no area that Indiana's not better at than UCLA. No. What I'm going to say here is that's not the right word. There is a comical gap between these two teams in every single metric, and more importantly, in the talent of these teams. What UCLA has done has been tremendous. They snuck up on Penn State the way that they did because of the issues that we highlighted when that firing happened with James Franklin. They also took advantage of a Maryland team that has issues, and it was a perfect matchup for UCLA to win because, again, the things that they're finding success doing at the current moment worked against them. The same thing for Michigan State. To give credit to Tim Skipper, who I really like and respect, and I think gets the job at the end of the year and can transform this program into a consistent, steady 7, maybe even 8-win team at UCLA if he does these things. This is the transformation they've had. 22.4 points per game to the current run where they're averaging 33.3 points per game.
Insane.
They're averaging in this run 322.3 rush yards per game since Skipper took over, 5.4 yards per carry. All of those things are commendable, but I'm reverting back to the main talking point that I had at the beginning of this segment. Indiana is not getting credit for how dominant they have been.
I agree.
They're not just a good team that's strong in some areas. They're the team
strong in every area.
Right. They're the team that I think that we should have been talking more about as being the most balanced, because you have a quarterback in Mendoza who, if something does not work out well, he can make those big time throws. I also have to add here, I thought that Nico has shown a lot of improvements in his play. I think the big difference here is that he is having a lot more of a reckless abandonment, which is awesome because he was so timid at Tennessee. But the problem is now he's turning the ball over and he's got a lot of bad throws on film, especially a couple that he had against Maryland. So there's just a lot going against him. Not to mention the final fact. This game is a noon kickoff at Indiana. West Coast team traveling, noon kickoff at Indiana.
The problem I had with that is they did that 3 weeks ago and went to Michigan State for a noon kickoff and scored 28 points in the first 20 minutes.
It's a good point.
I get what you're saying, but the interim tag on Skipper, they like him and they fight for him. So everybody wants a good success story. Everybody wants to feel good about this situation. I am completely staying away from the 25 and a half points, whatever it was. I'm not going remotely close to that. They very well could do it. I think Indiana's able to run it right at them and bust them right in the mouth. Pause. But I think they can run it right at them. Joe, this defense at this front seven is abysmal. I mean, we love it. And I've watched them a lot. They've been so bad, man. So I think I don't think Mendoza has to do much, really. They should be able to line it up and run it right at him. And here's the good thing. UCLA now sneaks up on nobody. They sneak up on nobody. You can do it to Penn State. Can you do it to Indiana? I don't think that you can. I love it, but I think they're going to run all over them. Joe, I feel very confident that they're going to run for over a $185, maybe even 200, and it's going to get pretty ugly later on in the game.
Let me just toss this in. This is a little bit not related to the game, more just kind of the outlook for UCLA. This is their remaining schedule after the Indiana game. They have Nebraska at home. They go to Ohio State. They get Washington at home, and then they go to USC. They're currently 3-4. What do you think is a realistic final record for them? Do you think that they could steal? Wait, I think they're 3-4.
Yeah, they're 3-4.
No, they are three. They're 3-4. Do you think that they could steal 3 more games on that schedule?
Hot take. You ready? Hot take. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I think they beat Nebraska.
That wouldn't shock me. There's no time for that game.
I think Nebraska,
but if I'm UCLA, I'm scheduling that as a 10:30 kick. I'm doing whatever I can to make that a 10:30 kick.
I think Nebraska is the most fraudulent team in the Big Ten. I said that in the preseason. And everybody was like, "Oh, he's a hater. He's a hater. He's a hater."
Well, you are a hater. We're both haters. That's what we do on this show.
Hold on. I push back on that. You can't be haters when you have a take and teams prove that what you're saying is correct.
Yeah, but we get proven wrong all the time. We don't. We're bad. We're like hitting. We're hitting like
takes. No, we haven't.
Like any good show that gets correct analysis, has correct analysis and good picks. We're batting like 60%. It's the world that we live in. People don't realize that. People don't realize that when they comment, "Oh, you guys are always wrong."
Batting 1,000.
It doesn't happen. I think that
you know what I'm not wrong on. You know what I'm never wrong on.
What?
Miami.
Because that's Miami bounce back. You watch.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. I mean, listen. Back to your honest question. Do I think that they can become bowl eligible? Yes.
I think it's possible, but it's like they would need to steal Washington or USC for that to happen. Which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think it would happen, but could they? I mean, Joe, you can be 5-7 and go to bowl games.
Well, no. It requires.
Remember, it does. But remember, teams. Joe, we had 3 teams last year not go to bowl games.
But that was because of extreme circumstance.
Because there's teams with coaching searches happening that there's not going to be extreme circumstances.
I don't think UCLA would benefit from this. I don't.
USC.
UCLA. I said UCLA.
They would benefit from it because if Tim Skipper, let me tell you why they benefit from it. They benefit from her if he gets the interim tag taken off of him and you get 15 more practices. And you get 15 more practices.
Oh, yeah, they benefit from that in that way, but I just don't think that they're going to get an invited 5-7.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you could. I mean, I'm really hopeful, wishful thinking here. I'm a UCLA Bruin through and through now. Jerry Neuheisel has sold me on the face of this program. All right, let's move forward here.